yesterday one of my musical heroes and one of many other people's musical heroes, Brian Wilson, passed away. And I was on a train back from Dublin in the evening, and I just opened my phone and I seen the news and I just started to cry, and I put my hand in front of my face and put my head down, and yeah, and when I got home late at night, I put on Pet Sounds and I passed out asleep, and I woke up, I think, near the end of it, and yeah, it's just, it's news you don't want to hear, because, as I said to my friend last night, I was like, your heroes aren't supposed to die, but Brian Wilson was just, he was a genius, he was a musical genius, and that word gets bandied about so much. Like, people go, oh, that guy's a genius, that girl's a genius. Like, no, he's a legit genius. He's not like this Kanye West, he's a genius. Kanye West is not a genius. Brian Wilson's a genius. When you listen to the harmonies that he did and created, like Our Prayer, just amazing piece of music. When you take the harmonies from the actual tracks away, on their own, you could just listen to them, they're so beautiful, on their own, and then you have the music underneath it, which is equally beautiful. And Brian was so great at doing like modulations and things like that. Like This Whole World's a great example of modulation, and Brian's modulations were never something that you would go, oh, that's a modulation. And like, he had this way of just, in his own way that only he could do that, and that's why he's Brian Wilson. That's why he's Brian Wilson. His music meant so much to me. Like, his music touched my soul and my heart in ways that not much music can. Like, there's a kind of few music types of music, not types of music, it's not everyone that can do that. Not everyone's music that can do that. Because he was just a unique guy. He just had a unique way of looking at music, and it meant so much to me. I remember the first time I heard Pet Sounds, I was just like, wow. Because I'd heard about, you hear these things like, oh, this is like the greatest album ever made, and this thing. The first time I heard the Beach Boys, like, actually more like heard them than, not the surf things. You'd hear the surf songs, growing up and stuff like that. But I was watching the show. Dave Fanning, this Irish guy, used to have the show, and on a Sunday, I think, and he started talking about Brian Wilson, and he was this producer of the band, and they went on tour, and he didn't go on tour, and I was like, oh, that's peculiar. And I was thinking, is he in the band or what? So I didn't know, And they played I Just Wasn't Made for These Times, and I was like, oh my God, like, what was that? It was just so amazing. It was brilliant. And then it's like, for some weird reason, then they had, like, I seen the biography channel, and they had this biography on Brian Wilson, and then they had this movie on the Beach Boys, and all those things came together, and I was just so, like, just obsessed with the music, just completely obsessed with the music, and just, I needed to find, you hear about the Smile thing, and you're like, oh my God, and then you get really into that, and yeah, just, you just go down a kind of rabbit hole of like the Smile thing. The Smile thing, this is before he did Brian Wilson Presents Smile, and just amazing, just beautiful music, amazing music. And I have this t-shirt. So this t-shirt is I've had this for so long because I went to see that Lucky Old Son premiere, and it's got holes in it and everything. My mother's like, you got to throw that out. I'm like, no way, I'm never throwing that out. I've never thrown that out. And I've told this story many times on my podcast, so apologies if people are listening to this and heard the story a million times. They're like, oh God. But I'm sure some people obviously haven't heard it because they don't listen to my podcast. But that Lucky Old Son premiere, me and my friend went to it, and we're in the corner dancing like morons, in one of the boxes. We kind of snuck over onto one of these box kind of things at the side, and after, this woman comes running over to us. She's like, you're the guys that were dancing at the side, and we're like, oh yeah, geez, yeah. And then she's talking to us, and she's talking to us, two band members appear, and I'm like, what the hell are they coming? It turns out it was Scott's wife. So anyways, we were talking to them, and she was like saying, "Oh, you should come tomorrow. We put you on the list, and you can meet Brian Wilson." And I was like, "Oh, I don't really want to meet Brian Wilson." She's like, "What?" I was like, "Well, I just don't want to annoy him, because there was so many people who just wanted to get a picture with him, wanted to talk to him, and I just was like, leave that dude alone. Like, he just wants to be left alone. He just wants to do his music, which he loves." And you could see he really wasn't comfortable, like, with all that kind of stuff. So I think, out of respect for him, I was like, you know what, I don't want to meet him. It'd be cool to get, like, hey, I remember, but for him, it's. I was just like, you know what, I don't want to annoy that guy. He's so many people annoying him, and just that's really it. I just didn't want to annoy the guy because I respect him so much in his music. But there's never going to be another person like Brian Wilson, musically. And it's funny because some people think when they hear the Beach Boys, they think of just surfer songs and that kind of thing. And for me, it was never where I liked the Beach Boys. It was purely just Please Let Me Wonder, She Knows Me Too Well, Pet Sounds, Smile, Sunflower. That's kind of surf songs are fine, but those kind of songs are where you really hear Brian Wilson. Please Let Me Wonder, for example. And I Just Wasn't Made for These Times and Caroline, no, they're the real heart of Brian Wilson, in my opinion. Obviously, without the surf songs, we wouldn't have got to that. So you kind of need both those things. It's like you need those things. And and Brian Wilson being the genius that he is, he needed the Beach Boys' voices. So it's not like. You can't forget that also. Their blend was amazing. There's something about a blend where people are related when they harmonise. There's something that is completely different than if you took 5 random people and harmonised. There's just something unique about that. And yeah, the world has just lost somebody who's wrote some of the greatest music ever. And his music is going to live on forever. And thankfully, I'm more composed today because yesterday I was really upset, and I'm still really upset. But we're lucky to have someone like Brian Wilson, who gave us all that music. And I'm gonna go because I can see myself getting upset. So yeah, thanks, Brian.